Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide her podcast featuring the one and only Valerie and Remy.
Hey! I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling blessed. I'm happy. It's Friday, so that's all I can be happy about.
Yes, won't he do it?
Yes.
God is good all the time, and all the
All the
time God is
time, God is
good.
good.
Yes, I had to teach someone that whole phrase. Like when you hear,
Really?
yes, I was like, when you hear somebody say God is good all the time, and all the time, God is
God is
good.
good.
So let's get it started. So, Miss Valerie, can you tell us how you got to where you are in your sports journey?
Yeah, so I went to school in Connecticut. So I'm originally from Boston, but I went to University of Hartford in Connecticut. And I always wanted to work in the media industry, but I didn't really know exactly like where in the media industry I wanted to work in. I loved sports heavily, like just being a natural Boston sports fan. Like I played sports growing up. Everybody in my family's played sports. Like it was just always there, but I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to be in sports. But if I got into it, I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna like stay in that industry because I also understood like it's a really hard industry to get into. So luckily for me, like once I graduated, I ended up at my first big girl job, which ended up being at CBS, more specifically CBS Boston or Paramount, Viacom, whatever they call themselves at this point now, because they changed so many times. And so I got a lot of experience being in the media industry there, just in various roles from advertising, marketing, like sales, all of that. And while I was there, like because CBS/Paramount has a partnership with the NFL, like I had like a lot of experience like being in sports in that capacity, and then also with like college basketball they would air a lot of it too. They have a partnership with them as well too, so I kind of got like my first kind of taste of that being there. And then when I decided kind of like my time was up at CBS and I was like looking for something new, I went out and I ended up applying to the Athletic, which is where I work now. And I ended up getting the job. And so now I work in marketing or ad marketing and a lot of brand partnerships and kind of the more creative businessy side of sports.
Ooh, I was about to say, how can a podcast like this get into a brand partnership and
we
the athletic? But
we could talk after. We could talk after.
like it's funny because I be like, like because I used to have my Ollipops, and I be like,
I love them.
and I was like, one time I had on my Instagram, I said, Olipop, we might need to talk about a brand partnership because I be like literally advertising y'all and all that stuff, and we locked in. So can we talk about brand partnership?
You should. You should pitch yourself, girl. Do it.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I'm trying. I'm trying. So, but my question is like, what was the transition like from going to the CBS, working at CBS Sports, to the athletic? Like,
um, it was really good, but there was definitely some differences. So I was just going from like being at a big media company and then going to the Athletic, which is a much like newer company. Or not newer, but in comparison to CBS, a lot more newer. So a lot of things were a little bit different. Like the Athletic is very fast paced. And so being here, it was just like you have to be quick on your feet, you have to be quick thinking. Um, and also with CBS, when I was there, they were very much linear. So a lot of like TV based things and partnerships versus like being at the Athletic because they are a very much digital forward company. It was like a lot of social, a lot of like on site or their app. Like that's what I'm doing a lot of. Like I completely don't do much on like the TV work of things. So that was like a huge thing. A little bit of a learning curve for me, but like honestly, it was perfect because like that's the times that we're kind of pivoting into. Like people are, they're on social media. That's where they're getting like all their sports news. That's where they're getting all of their information. Like, they'll watch the sports on like streaming services and stuff like that. But when it comes to sports, they're getting a lot of their information from social media, from the apps, from the publications like The Athletic. So it was nice. And honestly, I love being here just because, like I said, it's newer. So there's a lot of room for like creativity and like doing your own thing and making like your role something bigger than what you probably envisioned it to be, which is awesome, especially like in the space that I'm in my career of like wanting to grow and making the most of it.
Absolutely. And, this leads to my question too, like, as a black woman in sports, and, how important it is representation when it comes to, for you as a black woman in sports.
Yeah, it's super important. There's a lot more work to do, which is crazy to say in 2025. Especially like with a lot of these leagues being very like heavy when it comes to people of color. Like a lot of like, like NFL is like basically 80%, black men or people of color. And it's just like it's not, I wouldn't say weird, but it's like it's noticeable if like the people that are in the shadows are not also in that same space, and or reflected in the same space. So being in this side, like in the media industry, it was always something that I noticed, but being on the sports side of things, like I'm used to being like the only black woman in a lot of these conversations, like in a lot of the meetings that I'm put in. And I would love to see more like faces. I would love to like mentor a little bit more, and like that's why I love doing things like this or even talking to students, because I feel like also with sports, like people tend to forget like there's other ways you can get into sports. Like it's not always you have to be on air or you have to produce or you have to write. Like there's like the marketing, there's a creative side, there's a business side that still allows you to be in sports just in a different way, and like you can still be in those same spaces. So that's why I'm like a big advocate of just like mentorship or like talking to people and discussing, because we don't have a lot of those. Like I said, I'm used to being like one of the only black women or one of the only women in a lot of these conversations, and I would love to see that grow a little bit more.
Do you feel like the marketing and the advertising and the creative aspect business of sports is overlooked?
Um, I think it is in a sense, just because like I feel like people end up knowing about these positions like once they're out of college. Like when you think of sports and like when you're just kind of like prepping students or prepping people for their life after college, they're thinking to be, reporters and they're thinking to be producers. Like I remember being in college, like you wouldn't have told me that this position was open. I would have never known. Like I would have never known the stuff that I do because that's not what was pushed to me when I was in school. So I think it is overlooked. It's not really like a conversation that happens a lot. And like students or people that are getting into these positions, you would only find out literally if you're applying after. It's not like you would learn this while you're in school.
For sure. Like, and people got to understand how important internships is, especially if you're getting into the real world. Like, it could help a lot with networking and connections. So,
Yeah, yeah. Like I will say I had an internship every single year except for my freshman year of college. And not all of them were related to sports or the media industry, but they were related to like critical skills that like I would need to have just in the professional setting, which is why like I'm also a big advocate for like internships, because it's like that's where you learn how to like have those professional conversations, how to navigate difficult conversations, how to deal with, external people or external partners or things that you wouldn't face like learning in the classroom. So I always tell like students like, hey, you might not get the internship that you want, say if it is in sports, but if you do get an internship in somewhere else that you can kind of learn skills from, just take it. Like it's always good to just kind of learn from other people on like professional skills or developing skills that you might not be able to develop in the classroom.
absolutely. I know people don't like internships, like, oh, I got to get an internship so I can graduate with my credits. Like,
Yeah.
well, like, there's a lot of things you can't control. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
it's a prerequisite. So it's like I didn't like it either, but gotta go with it.
Hmm.
So my question for you is: I noticed you are a huge Boston sports person,
Yep.
and then no, UConn is under the New England sports. Do you see UConn winning it all this year?
I do. I am rooting for Paige. I am rooting for Sarah. I want them to win it all. I see it. I see it. And I'm gonna. That's why I have on my bracket winning. So they better win.
Cause I mean, the man to see them get a number two seed, you would think like what?
Yeah, yeah. But I
And
think they got it in them though.
and it's crazy because they beat majority of those teams that they
Mhm.
played against each other.
But I mean, it is March Madness. You really never, ever, ever know. So
That's true. But Paige went off on that 40-point game. That was
I know she did. She was going crazy.
too crazy. I'm like, whoo! Like just
I
and
mean, it's a lot of built up time that she had like resting from the previous season. So I'm sure she's just ready to go off.
yeah, and like she's the season she's having so far this year, like a 50, 40, 90 season with like the 3.8 assists per like the assist turnover ratio,
Mhm.
like that's literally the best and the only it's like no other player has done it in any type of whether it's NBA, WNBA or college basketball. It's like what?
Yeah, yeah. She's making it known, which I love. I love this group of just this past like couple of years group of like women that have just been dominating like college basketball and their transition into like the WNBA and like everything after. Like they have been killing it, and I love that for them, as they should and they deserve.
Absolutely, because man, when I tell you like last year's draft class was
I know that was
crazy.
insane.
Like you saw every like all the girlies were dressing like women. Like they showed out in that draft.
Mhm.
Like to me, Rakia Jackson's like wardrobe
I
on
know her face card goes crazy.
always, and it's
Yeah.
like okay, girl, let them know, And then like just to do you feel like what's it like to see the women's sports itself like grow in viewerships, revenues, and all that stuff now?
I love it. Like being on the business side and like being on like the creative side of things, like we have like a lot of clients that are like we want to be, around like women's sports. Like they outwardly say like we want to be around what's going on, whether it's soccer, whether it's basketball, whether it's even like golf. Like women's sports right now is having their moment and I'm like here for it because I feel like it's been such a long time coming and like all we can do is just like capitalize off this moment and it's fun. Like I remember being like in high school and like even like our women's or girls basketball team, like we would, I don't know about anybody else's school, but we would go all out, like whether it was the varsity boys team, varsity girls team, like we was going crazy. I remember when I was in like eighth grade going into ninth grade, Ray Allen's daughter actually went to my high school. So like her senior class was insane. So we would pack the gym up like watching their team. So it's not funny, but it's nice to see like the transition like from when I was in high school and like that being a huge thing and then now like being an adult and like seeing how it's also growing as well too and seeing how much more like the women are getting a lot of like visibility into like things that they're going through, how they're growing, and like just having their moment right now.
Man, because this next draft class is gonna be crazy, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely, it definitely will be.
And with all, especially with the teams that like all the different players are on different teams now, like I would have never thought Joel Lloyd would go to the Vegas Aces or, the like, with Dallas Wings, you have Nylissa and
Mhm.
Dejanay, like
I know.
same team. So it's like,
Oh, but I feel like that's what makes it fun when like personally, I don't like when we have like those stacked teams, even though Celtics is a little bit stacked right now. I like when it's a little bit of a competition in the leagues, like when you're like, "Ooh, who could really win this?" And I feel like that's what the WNBA is like. Every team, it's like there's possibility for this team to show out, but there's also possibility for this team to show up. It's not like an obvious answer. It makes things fun and lively, and that's what I think also about like women's basketball at college is all about too. Like when I talk to my friends and we be talking in our group chat, we be like, who y'all think is winning? Like I'm over here like UConn. I have my friends saying South Carolina. I got other people bringing up other colleges, so we just all going back and forth. So it's just fun being able to just kind of like have that banter and stuff like that. It adds in a little bit of an excitement, especially like as a viewer too. Like it adds more to it.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, I was just like I was just saying, like I would love to see a UConn and Texas matchup just because I was like it would be different for me.
Yeah, it would, and we like a little different.
Yeah, because it's like I mean I understand South Carolina they're dominant, but like this season it just seems so different for them. Like there's no like their go to. There's no like one specific go to player. It's like been a bunch of like different players, and it's like who's like that star that because it's like LSU they had Flau'jae, they had Michaela Williams,
Hmm.
and it was just totally different this year for South Carolina, and the fact that they had multiple times they had to come back from being down. It's like that's gonna be hard for them if they
I
playing against like a good team that can hold them still like
know. Hmm.
y'all gonna be down. So
Yeah, no, definitely.
and we just hoping the Celtics win it all this year again. So
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. It's rare for me to get like other people who are not from Boston to like say that. So that made my day.
I'm a Celtics person, so I'm here for it. And I just think the whole like you know for me like Jason Tatum's very underappreciated and under like
Absolutely.
the fact that he's still getting like the disrespect how he's supposedly if you're looking for the face of the NBA it's Anthony Edwards and all it's like Tatum's been like first team like 3-4 years in a row
Hmm.
like been to the finals Eastern Conference final like 6 out of the 8 or 5 out of the 7 years went to the finals twice won the final like
Yeah,
and
he's been
it's
hot.
crazy and it's crazy too like it's like for MVP candidate like it's always like he gets the short end of the stick so it's like he got to win a title to be considered MVP he got to do this that but it's like where's that same energy when Joel Embiid won an MVP and
Mm,
he ain't been
don't
and
start with
he
that
or
man.
where was that same energy when Giannis got an MVP and he didn't even win the ring
Hmm.
before he got MVP I mean before he got MVP or Jokic when he got MVP, he didn't have to win. He didn't have to win a ring. It's like, where's this same energy? Where's all this?
I
So
feel like in part, like as terrible as this has to say, like I have to say, I feel like part of it is just like the way people feel about the Celtics organization in general. So they like attach that to him. And so it's like because they like I will be out there and say it, but like so many people hate the Boston sports team, which is fine. Whatever. We don't care. But the Celtics, like they hate the Celtics. So it's like he's tied with that. So it's just like he gets like the hate that comes with it, which is unfortunate for him.
yeah, and him and like all the people wanted him and Jalen Brown to be separated. It's like, come on now, like
No, we're not doing
that narrative is so old. Like, move
no, we're
on.
not doing that. We're not doing that.
Oh, and do you think Jalen Brown should have been on the Olympic team?
I think so. I'm gonna always root for them. So yeah, yeah, I think so. I think he was shorted.
Especially like the fact he won Eastern Conference Finals MVP
Yeah,
and he won the NBA Finals, and which was he was like, "Oh, I got the MVP for the NBA Finals." His
yeah,
look when he got that when he heard it's like, "Oh wow," just like,
yeah. That Olympic team was a little messy this past summer.
and the fact that they didn't play Tatum in one of the games, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
y'all definitely messy." Like
yeah.
y'all could have utilized him, but no,
Mm-mm.
like, mm. But my question for you is, when it comes to mental health, how important is mental health when it comes to like the area that you're in?
That is a great question. And it is 110% important. Like I am very open about my mental health. Like I see a therapist. Like I love my girl down. She held me down so many times. And I just feel like, again, like even in the sports space, in the corporate space, like you're gonna navigate so many things, especially like, if you are somebody of color, but also if you're just like a double minority, if you're a black woman, if you're a Latina woman, if you're an Asian woman, whatever the case may be, or even a woman in general, or just just being like a minority in some type of aspect, it's a lot to take on. Um, and sometimes you have to like put your feelings aside or put what you're going through aside and like be very like professional facing. And like that's hard sometimes. Like if you're going through something, it's so hard to figure out like, I got to show up today, I got to be present and do all this stuff, especially in the corporate space. But also at the same time, like I can understand like athletes as well too. Like they have to show up every single day no matter what they are going through. So like I'm a big advocate for mental health and giving yourself that time to really like learn yourself, heal, figure out what your boundaries are, figure out like what your triggers are, figure out like what's going to help you get through day by day, or like any transitions or like bumps through the road. Like I like I said, I'm a big advocate for it. So for me, when like I see certain things happening, I'm like, dang, like I hope they got a therapist, or I hope they're talking to somebody, because they have so much potential to be, great, or do whatever, or they don't have to be this one, I guess, version of themselves. And if they understood like the other aspects of it and maybe talking it out, like maybe through therapy or just getting a little bit more control on their mental health, they can understand a little bit more. So I'm a big advocate for it. I always tell people to, take time for yourself. Like a job is always going to be there. The things that you're going to do is always going to be there. But like until like you take care of what's inside of you, like nothing outside gonna work. So you got to make sure you're taking care of the inside parts first.
Oh, you better say it loud, man. Say it loud for the folks in the back, because I always say that athletes are human first, because
Yeah.
they humans just like everyone else. They have feelings too. Like,
Hmm.
they are more than just their sport. Like, just like put some respect on them. Like
Yeah,
what they're doing
absolutely.
is a job already. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
and like, yeah, say it louder for the folks in the back.
Got to
Ooh,
take care of inside of you first. Like you said, human first before anything.
exactly. And my question for you is, how would you describe your journey so far?
Um, I would say, I don't know if blessed is the word, but I'm gonna use blessed until I figure out what the right word is. But I would say blessed. I was fortunate enough to like I said, I had multiple internships in school. Like that's very hard to come by. Like that doesn't happen pretty often. Like that's really all God right there. And then to like get out of school and end up working for one of the largest media companies in the world, and like being able to like grow and develop there. Like I went back to school to get my master's while I was there too, and I was fortunate enough for them to pay for it as well. So like I didn't come out of pocket for anything. And then being able to like pivot into another company that's pretty massive and big and developing as well too. Like I feel really blessed and just super happy. So like even if I have days where I'm like, yo, listen, it's a tough day. Like it's rough today. I'm always just like at the end of the day, like there are a lot of people that like would want to be in the position that I'm in, and I should just be very much grateful and like just look forward to it. And I look forward to my job every day, no matter what type of day I'm having. Like I'm happy, and I'm really happy with where I'm going and being able to grow in it. So yeah, I would say blessed.
Ooh, you better say it loud, girl, because blessed, like we blessed to be alive, blessed and highly favored. Like, hello.
Yeah. Yes, no, literally all to God.
God is good all the time.
All the
All the
time, God
time,
is
God.
good.
So I always ask my guests this question because Bonafide means authentic and unique. So what makes Miss Valerie Remy Bonafide, and what makes your story stand out?
um, I think what makes my story stand out is a few things. Does that have to be one thing?
It could be many things.
Okay. I think for me, I'm a child of an immigrant. I'm a child of a single mother. Like there's so many ways my story could have gone, but I chose for it to not go certain ways. Like I knew I wanted better. Like I knew the sacrifices that were made, like in order for me to get to where I am now. Um, so I think because of that and like kind of persevering through all of that, that's what makes my story a little bit more unique than some other people that might have had the resources already to them, because like I really was like, no, like I know what I want to do, like I want to be successful, I want to be in a space and be in a place where I'm happy and I'm going to keep going. But also being in a space where there aren't a lot of people that look like me is also unique too. And like I said, like I try to advocate, to other students or people that are coming up, like, hey, like there are people that look like, you or me that are in these spaces, and like, let me tell you about it. Let me, mentor you or kind of like persuade you into being like, you can still work in this space, but in a different way. So I feel like that's something that's really unique to my story because, like I said, when you think of sports, people always want to be on air, they want to be a producer, which is totally fine. But I think when I come in sometimes and I have conversations, it's like different for students. They're like, oh, wow, like I didn't know that I could do that, or I could be that, or I could see people that are in those same spaces.
Girl, sometimes you gotta make a way, making your own legacy, disrupt the spaces to be like,
Yes,
hey, I'm here. Just respect on that.
absolutely.
So I call this the shameless plug because hey, I'm a girl's girl, and when people invest in women's sports and women, amazing things happen. So can you let the folks know how and where they can follow and support you if there's any upcoming events happening for you?
Yeah. So they can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I think all my social media is the same. So Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's my first name, Valerie, and then underscore Remy. Can follow me on all of those. I don't have any events coming up, but I will be soon. So I don't know, whenever I have something, if you follow me, you'll see and you'll be there.
Who let them know? Like, let them know. Support your favorite women in sports.
Yes.
Let them know. So, thank you guys for tuning in to Bonafide Her podcast, episode 127. And big shout out to Miss Valerie Remy. You can check out the live replay of episode 127 featuring Valerie Remy. Remy, ooh, this is my boo. This podcast is raw and real, y'all. So there's gonna be bloopers.
We love it.
So be sure to check out episode 127 featuring Valerie Remy right after this. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Peace.